Well, I think they're resting right now. We see another two teams are competing on the shuttlecock. It's just like you're playing the shuttlecock. You cannot use your hand to touch the shuttlecock. You can use every part of your body to kick or touch the shuttlecock. We're seeing these two teams are competing on this item. I'd like to introduce some of the background of the National Minority Sports Competition. A lot of the sports are actually originated from some of the labor, some of the work they have done in the field. Due to weather conditions, some of the sports are moved indoors, and some of the games are actually postponed. It will be much better if we see this kind of competition outdoors. We have a special guest today. Let him give us some introduction about the rules of the shuttlecock. According to my observation, there are 3 people in one team, and also we see the lines, the border of the field. For this game, we have women's competition and men's competition. 3 people are in one team. So these 2 teams are competing with each other. They are actually using the field of the badminton field. And we have 2 lines, the inner one and the outer one, for the border or the lines of the shuttlecock. So if the shuttlecock lands on the field on the competitors, and for each one of the players, they cannot touch the shuttlecock for more than 4 times. It is a standardized sport, so if a very strict rules. So when they receive the shuttlecock on their field, so each one of the players cannot touch the shuttlecock for over 2 times. For the whole team, they cannot touch the shuttlecock for more than 4 times. So that is the basic rule for this sport. And also we have the referee. This is a folk game, actually, a folk shuttlecock game. And now they're turning that into a sport and adding some rules. Now it has become a modernized sport. So actually it requires higher standard for the athletes. They need to have a very high level skill in order to play the shuttlecock. I have been watching this game for quite a long time. I think they have just switched their field, yes. So for each game, they have to score 21 points. For the red team, I think the one who is wearing number 1 uniform is the captain, because I can see he's very good at playing the shuttlecock. You can see he can even use his body, his chest, to touch the shuttlecock. So some of them, they can use their legs to defeat their contestants. And I also see some of them using the head to touch the shuttlecock, just like playing soccer. A lot of the elements are used for this specified sport. So this is a nationwide fitness program. It can help to improve the physical condition for all the people. For this kind of sports, it does require a high level of skills. You need to have a very strong body and you have to move swiftly. You can see not many people can master this kind of skill. In Hainan Province, even though we don't have a lot of minority sports subjects, but still we are promoting these minority sports. And for this kind of shuttlecock sports, many students from the local high schools can know how to play it. So for this shuttlecock competition is very famous and very popular in Hainan Province. They're using their front part of their feet to touch the shuttlecock. These are the basic moves. They have to kick very high for the shuttlecock and then pass it to their athletes. So for each game, each team has to score 21 points in order to win. and the shuttlecock sports are also affected by the wind. Let's watch the game for a while. It's very interesting and very intense. Now they change the field. It feels like the time is not fixed. As long as you can hit the 21 points, and you will win. I think they have very high level of skills. Just 1 or 2 kicks, they can pass the shuttlecock to the other side. Let's get closer. You can see he can just use his head to pass over the shuttlecock. It looks pretty much similar to soccer. So for the rules and the field, it is actually sharing the regulation of the badminton. However, in terms of the techniques, it looks pretty much like soccer. Just like this one, he also used his head. Because if you're using the head, you can control the angle. I think the shuttlecock just passed offline. What a moment. He used a very difficult gesture to pass the shuttlecock. I think they're replacing the players. You can see there are many substitutes in the resting area. And the coach will explain some of the tactics to the players. So for the team in yellow, they're quite young, as we can see from their faces. So many of the athletes, they're actually from the younger generation. They're just a little bit above 20-year-old. And some of the team, they're just from high school, and some of them from universities. And we see many high school students attending this minority sports competition. And we've just heard that there's another event outside called the Yajia, which is the elephant tug-of-war. Later we can go outside to see the elephant tug-of-war. Let's see if we have a good signal outside of the venue.
这个公斤级暂停了，我们可以过去了解。
athletes are actually taking photos.
运动员在看自己的成绩，因为那个地方有一个积分表。
And some of the players are checking their scores.
记录的成绩现在在
After each game, the judges will put the score onto the chart. So you can see these athletes are checking their scores.
在这个场地里，现在是比赛完了之后，有好多人想来试一下。
As you can see, some of the visitors, they are actually experiencing this kind of shuttlecock sport. You can see the whole game has been completed, the shuttlecock competition. And outside of this venue, we are having the Yajia competition, which is the elephant tug-of-war. Let's move outside to see the other events. Let's check the signal first.
说到外面的那个场地去看了一下另外一个项目，但是因为那个地方信号实在是不好，所以我们又回
We're
到
trying to
了
bring
这
you
个
the
地
live
方。
streaming
我给大家
outside
说
of
一
this
下这
venue,
个
but the signal is so poor. That's why we get back to this Shuttlecock venue.
目前来看呢，
Now we are seeing a
比赛
ranking chart
是0-2，
for the national minority sports competition.
有一场昌江野，陵水跟
And we are seeing the rankings of each team for the Shuttlecock.
表格看不太明白，我们再看一下这边的。 比赛有剑球的比赛日程，我们看7月22号上午8点半，女子组9点半，男子
This is the schedule for the Shuttlecock game.
半是女，然后是男子组再开始，然后明天接着
And this morning we just have a few games in men's team.
4号是
And also we have a few games
对，我来请教一下
tomorrow
这个积分
and
表
also on the 24th of July.
积分表啊，
For these charts, I don't quite understand. Can you give me some explanation?
这个我给你找个裁判员。
Let me see.
好好好，找裁判员来解释一下，因为刚才
Maybe I can get you a referee so he can give you a more detailed explanation for the ranking and the
现
charts.
在来看一下画面的这边，这个穿红衣服的都是刚才的裁判，他们现在应该比赛。
So for these people wearing in red uniform, they are the judges, the referee for the game.
哦，这个他们应该是在
Now they're having a meeting right now.
对，稍等一下，也不打扰他们。是，他们下午还有比赛，然后对，因为裁判员都比较
In the
敬业
afternoon, there are a few games to come for the Shuttlecock.
裁判过程中呢，
Now they're doing a recap for the morning games.
是下一场比赛会出现这样的问题。
They would like to summarize some of the learnings from the games happening in the morning.
执裁过程中的一些严格的一些培训。
And the head of the judges, there actually he's giving training to the other referees.
看了一下这个比赛的日程安排，好多项目要比好多天。
对，有些是打循环。
I've just seen the schedule for the national minority sports competition, and we can see these games actually last for several days.
天气的问题，可能这两项比赛都延后了。
对对。
I think one of the interesting items is the single bamboo drifting, but because of the terrible weather today, some of the events are actually postponed.
不止影响这个观赛，还影响着这个成绩。
对，因为你像龙舟这样的比赛，如果这种天气去赛的话，
Because under such a bad weather condition, these athletes cannot play to their full advantage, and also we have to consider the safety
独木漂的项目，这个独木漂
for the athletes.
很有特色，而且很神秘的，就是水上有一根竹子，
I used to watch the single bamboo drifting,
就把自己的
and it is quite special.
他这个是
So actually, these athletes are standing on a piece of thin bamboo and racing with each other.
形成
Now, this kind of sports was originated from Guizhou Province,
项目的时候，我们用的就不是竹子来比赛了，是用的是一个
and later this kind of
是钢管类的。
activity was turned into a sport.
竹子太轻了，
But for the bamboo drifting,
它那个东西
in the professional sports competition, we are not using
对
bamboo.
这个技巧难度很大，就是说目前就全国来讲的这个项目的推广呢，还是有一
It also requires a high level of skill for the people for just standing up on the bamboo.
生活在就是这个水域的这些地区呢，就是
If the athletes are not living by the riverside,
但我听说这项项目好像是列到了
so they don't even have the opportunity to learn how to do it.
这个
国的传统。
全国的传统运动会，我不记得是哪一届列入。
And for this single bamboo drifting, it will become one of the official items for the national minority sports competition. So it is a national sports item right now.
对，很有看点。
It is quite unique
会更喜欢。
是，
and very entertaining for watch.
对，有点
It feels like you have to master some of the martial arts in order to do it. You need to master the Chinese Kung Fu in order to stand on a single bamboo shoot in order to compete with each other for the drifting. I'm pretty much look forward to the elephant tug-of-war, but I'm not sure if the signal is okay. I will try anyway.
我看一下，看这个信号如果好的话，给大家看一下这个，因为刚才我们听这个声音就太热闹了。
它这个就不行，对，太多。
这样吧，我们想办法上楼去看一下，因为我跟。看一下，我们上楼上找个地方看一下。
Let's try the signal upstairs.
我们从这儿上楼，到楼上找个地方，我们从楼上往下俯拍一下这个项目，看看能不能从楼上有一个好的位置。
Still, we just want to bring you the live streaming of the elephant tug-of-war. This is a very competitive sport. Actually, there were a lot of events in this national minority sports competition, but due to the heavy rain, some of the events are actually postponed and some of them are moved indoors. Maybe we can bring you the live streaming from upstairs because we have a better signal here. So because of this signal, we can only give you the live streaming from this angle. We tried several times, but we failed. So maybe we can shoot from this angle. We have a rope here. Also, you see the yellow silk. So the competition starts on two sides. We will have one man standing on each side, and they're competing on their strength. Now we are waiting for the athletes. I think they're going through the registration right now. First of all, each one of the athletes have to be weighted in order to determine their ranking. Alright, we see the athletes. First of all, they shake hands because friendship is very important for the sports competition. Now they're quarrying on the touching down on the floor. It is a man tug-of-war. So actually in Hainan Province we call it dragging the turtles. That is the local name. Because you see it's just like a tug-of-war between two turtles. That's why we give the name to this kind of sport. Obviously, the other one's wearing in the yellow uniform has the better skills compared to the other. We see 3 lines in the middle. For the distance between the 2 lines is 2.4 meters. So the yellow silk is in the middle. If you can pull the yellow silk to the left side, meaning that the athlete can win over the athlete from the right side. You have to drag the yellow silk from the middle line to one of the ends. Now these 2 athletes have been switching the field. They want to do it again. Let's take a closer look. I think they must be adjusting their conditions. Let's cheer up for them. Now this time we can see the other one gets much better. I think it is not the same team. Because I remember the one who are standing on the right side actually wins the one on the left side. In a 3-set game, I believe there will be one more. I just hear the judges saying that now we are waiting for the competition for 76 kilogram ranking. So for this kind of tug-of-war, we only have the men competition. We don't have any women competing in this sport. Now it is the interval time. The working staff is actually talking to the athletes. For those people wearing in red, they are the referees. You see there are so many visitors joining the sports competition. Well, still the same athletes. Let's see their next round of competition. So once the midpoint past the left side, and then the winner will be set. Actually, the one who is wearing the blue uniform, he is quite strong. He's actually dragging the other one. In the end, they shake hands with each other to show friendship. They just fetch back their IDs. Identification is very important for each one of the athletes. We don't want to see any replacements or substitutes to play the game.
又开始拿过来新的证件了，应该是下一组选手现在准备上场。
The next round is about to start.
我们在上面能看见啊，现在是几个裁判工作人员在惩戒的事情，而且应该是下一组选手来的事情。
The referees are discussing about the scores.
我们再来看一组选手的比赛，再稍稍等一下，再来看一组。因为这个大家比赛还是力量。
Let's watch one more game. This is a competition of strength.
我问一下，这个海南的少数民族运动会啊，像这些取赛或就是比赛取胜的选手，
For the national minority sports competition in Hainan Province,
去参加比赛或者参加一些全国性的赛事。
will these athletes participate in other kind of sports competition in other regions or other provinces in China? Yes, actually we are preparing for the national minority sports competition happening next year. So we are trying to select the best team from Hainan Province in order to attend the national game.
继续的训练，训练以后就把他们带到
We will train these athletes
有些城市，有些
and we will take them to other provinces to attend other kind of sports competition.
了解这个海南的少数民族的组成还是很丰富的，包括这种志愿人还是很丰富的。
There are many athlete groups in Hainan Province, I believe.
运动员是有1000
And for this national minority sports competition, we have 1,048 athletes attending the sports competition.
队，还有这个代表团的工作人员，整个这个团队呢就是1356人。
But there were around like 1,300 people, including the coaches and the referees.
人员的更迭就是可能会有一些出入，但是就是1300余人。
So it is roughly 1,300 people attending this sports event.
对对，海南呢，其实海南是个小省，
And there's a high percentage of minority athletes in Hainan Province compared to China.
比呢，
Hainan is not a big province,
因为它整个人口基数比较少嘛。海南是
and
6万人，
for the population,
160
it accounts for top 10 in China. There were 9 million people living in Hainan Province, among which 1.6 million are from minority groups.
18%吧，18%对。
So I would say 80% of Hainan Province population is from ethnic minorities.
小省嘛，但也是一个
So for this percentage, it's relatively high.
除了市居的这
Even though Hainan Province is not a large province, but it does have a very high percentage of ethnic minorities.
总共有49个民族。对对。
So there were 49 ethnic minority groups in Hainan Province.
这个就是世居嘛，世代居住在这里，然后又有这个聚居区的，就是这3个。
So for example, the Li nationalities and Miao nationalities, they're very well known
社会交流啊，
in China, and these are based in Hainan Province.
回族这3个组成的人数也应该比较多。
对，其实主要这160
I think there must be a large number for the population
呢，就是已经也是
for Li ethnic groups, Miao ethnic groups, as well as Hui ethnic groups.
8万多一些。
Just for the Li nationalities, we have around 1.5 million people. And for Miao ethnic groups, we have around 80,000 people.
没有来，所以这个比赛没有办法进行。可能是因为
I think the referees are actually checking the teams. I think one of the team is absent from this competition. That's why we're still waiting for the start of the game. The scores is coming up, and some of the athletes are checking their scores.
我再跟新进来的一些网友再介绍一下现场的情况。我们这儿呢是海南省昌江正在举行的海南省第6届少数
To the new viewers, now we are having the 6th National Minority Sports Competition in Hainan Province.
设计在外面的一些比赛项目不得
Due to weather conditions, some of the events have been postponed,
目前呢
and some of the events has actually relocated from the outside venue into the indoor venue.
参赛的比赛选手，这里边呢有刚刚结束的剑球的
And we see a lot of athletes in the venue.
比赛的选手。
We have just finished the Shuttlecock competition,
我们看见有
and some of the athletes are here for the Tug-of-war,
上应该是比赛的日程，还有比赛的成绩。
and some of the athletes they are checking their scores and also checking the schedule for the games.
两个项目，一个是剑球，一个是压家。
For the indoor activity, we have 2 items in the morning. One is the shuttlecock, the other one is the tug-of-war. We have just watched the shuttlecock competition.
统计刚才比赛成绩的时候，
And for tug-of-war, the referees they're still like calculating the scores for the athletes.
因为天气的原因，现在没有办法在室外举行了。
Actually, we have a lot of brilliant events for the minority sports competition, but today, due to the bad weather, maybe we're not able to see some of those events.
但是我们从这个情况来看，来观看比赛的群众不是很多。如果在室外的话，我想会很多，因为天气的原因，大家出行也是个问题。另外一个
I think because of the weather,
热带低压，
not a few people coming here to watch the games. Most of the people gathering in the venue are the athletes and the judges. But I think if we have a good weather and we host this event outdoors, there must be a great number of visitors coming here to watch the game.
又要再一次的被命名。
我刚才跟那个教练员了解到，
这个已经结束了
对，已
是吧
经结束了，因为刚才那个运动员他没有来，就是那场比赛就没法。
I've just learned from the referee that the tug-of-war has just completed. So all the games in this venue have been completed today.
那我们就跟大家说一下吧。就你刚才了解的情况是说，这个剑球比赛也结束了，然后这个压家的比赛也结束了。
是上午的比赛结束了，下午还有。
So this morning section has been completed, the shuttlecock competition and the tug-of-war competition, and we will have more events to come in the afternoon.
话要看这个裁判的调整，目前还没有接到这个裁判
And for the
通知。
weather condition, we are not sure whether all of these events will be happen in time.
的话，裁判员会整个通知会务。
那我们也跟
The referee will send out the notice in time.
原本很多在室外的比赛呢，现在被
Because of the weather condition, some of the
上午我们只能看
events
两个内容的比赛。目前这两
have been transferred indoors.
已经结束了，
And this morning we have just watched the shuttlecock
都结束了。
competition and the tug-of-war training, and that comes to the end of the live streaming. Thank you.